How to find out instantly if a seller wants to do business with you. That's the topic of today's show. And this is Todd Toback. I want to welcome you to the No Limits Real Estate Investing Podcast. If you are looking to do big, fat, juicy wholesale deals, you want to build a fantastic short-term income, or you are looking to build a business that throws off cash month after month after month without your personal day-to-day involvement, this is your place. So welcome to the show. If you have not been to our site, I've got a gift there for you. And go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script. And there you will find a copy of the exact same script that we use in our business to lock up wholesale deals every single day. We've locked up over 1,300 deals using this exact script. So why reinvent the wheel? Go ahead and download it today. nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script. and start doing bigger deals today. So I always like to start off the show with good news. Someone who sent in a success story or a win puts me in a great mood. Hopefully it puts you in a great mood because, man, success breeds success. So let's go ahead and roll the tape.
Well, we just signed a contract to sell our biggest deal ever for us, a $95,000 profit. Yeah, we got basically $130,000 in the deal. We signed the contract at $245. Man, we just bought it super deep discount. You know, we bought it for $95,000. $95,000, and I mean, this is one we did a light rehab on and listed it.
So, Chris, thank you so much for sending that in. What an awesome win. $95,000, one deal. Okay, one deal. By the way, Chris, this is a very, very light rehab. I think it was a clean out and a little bit of paint. And by the way, I don't have a problem with that. I'm talking about some people do full-blown rehabs, but when you can buy a property, a low price point, clean it out, a little bit of paint, just throw it right on the market and make almost a six-figure profit, what a win, right? You do a few of those a year, that is game-changing money. And that is the purpose of this podcast, people who want to make big money while being as efficient as possible. So Chris, thank you so much for sending that in. What a win. Hopefully you are inspired by listening to this. I know I am. All right, so let's jump into today's questions. This is a two-parter, so we're going to go ahead and play the first part and then the second part.
Yeah, this is Ray Lawton from Massachusetts. So just had a question. When my DAs are setting up the call, so typically they like get the lead, they say yes, and then I'll call them. I guess is it still? Am I supposed to still use the phrase, "Hey, I don't think I caught you in the middle of something"? Maybe I didn't say that exactly right, but is that only for like incoming for like mail, or is that when I'm calling someone too that like my VA had previously talked to?
All right, so that's the first part. We're going to unpack that, but let's go ahead and play the second part of this question, then I'll address both.
And one thing they're saying too is like, "Oh, I don't want to sell anymore." It's like they just told my VA they want to sell, and then I'll call them and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to sell," or "I just went to see that property," and then they'll say like, "Oh, I'm not selling in 3 months," when they just told me they were like seem motivated, ready to sell, you know. So that's another issue that I'm having is trying to get on the phone. Like before I can even say that, they're just saying, "I can't talk," or something.
All right, so remember that is a two-part question. So what our listener who sent this in, you know, says, well, I tried using this term, sounds like I caught you in the middle of something. So if you don't know what that is, by the way, you do need to go to our site, nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script. And there actually is a free copy of the script that we use. And that is a line that we use, right, to actually get the seller back to start chasing us and not the other way around. So if you remember, the topic of this show was how to find instantly if a seller is interested in doing business with you. And so one of the ways that I recommend that, and I talk a lot about this actually in the No Limit Selling System, is you have to use something called a stealth mismatch. A stealth mismatch. And what is that? A stealth mismatch is doing something different than the seller expects you to do. You want to do the exact opposite of what the seller expects you to do. Sometimes it confuses them. It's a pattern interrupt, and then they start chasing you. I've talked a lot about this on the podcast before, but I used to have this childhood dog named Molly. And Molly was like the best dog. But one of the things that she did was as soon as we opened up our screen door in our front house on Long Island, New York, Molly used to run out the door and run down the block. And this dog was lightning. And I was always freaked out as a young kid, 13, 14 years old, that she was going to get hit by a car. And so we used to all chase Molly, and Molly just used to run down the block like lightning. And it used to be highly stressful until one day, we said, we got smart, right? We started running the other direction and called Molly's name. And we did that. Molly used to chase us, right? Instead of us chasing her, right? And that was like a big aha moment, because after that, we never had to worry about Molly running down the block. We always ran the other way and the dog would chase us. So what is the stealth mismatch? The stealth mismatch is a technique that I talk about in the no limit selling system. And that is the technique of running away as fast as possible from a seller, right, to see if they chase you. Because if they chase you, okay, now you know that you might have a motivated seller. But if you run away and run the other direction and they don't chase you, right, well, now you know that seller doesn't have motivation and you shouldn't spend time there, right? Not every prospect deserves your time. So you've got to first try to run away from the prospect, right, and see if they will chase you, and then make the determination on who gets your time, right? It's the same thing, like, if you're dating world, you don't want to chase the girl, right, or the guy too hard, or else they're going to get freaked out, right? You want to play a little hard to get, and that's what you want to do right here. All right, very, very important. So one of the things that you said is, sounds like I caught you in the middle of something. You want to be using that on every call that you make. Now, sometimes there's an awkward conversation where you can't put it in right away at the exact point. But any opening that I get from a seller, one of the things, if you grab your script and download that and you pull that in front of you, I'm going to say, it sounds like I caught you in the middle of something. And by the way, I did a whole podcast on the motivated seller script. So you can go ahead and download that podcast episode too, right? So go ahead and check out the motivated seller script. That's another podcast episode, and listen to that. But the purpose of that actually is the stealth mismatch, right? You are running the other direction to see what the seller says. If the seller says, yeah, I'm busy now, it's not a good time, well, you should not try to stay on that phone. If the seller says, no, I'm good, I've got a few seconds, then do that. Now, sometimes it is awkward, like the seller starts talking or saying something, or, they're yapping. That's okay. Let them talk for 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds, right? And then throw that in there, right? I might even throw it in there at 45 seconds, and I might say, it sounds like I caught you in the middle of something. And use that if the seller sounds distracted or you feel like they're pulling away. We listened to a call the other day in our company, and we do that every Friday, by the way. And the call, it seemed like the seller was giving a lot of resistance. The acquisition specialist says, sounds like I caught you in the middle of something. It changed the entire tone of the conversation. He was running away from Molly, running away from the dog, and the dog started to chase him. And we thought that this guy didn't sound motivated initially. And all of a sudden we found that this might be a deal. Not every deal is going to turn into a deal, right? Not every seller, but this one, okay, is worth our time. That's very, very important. Now, the stealth mismatch, that's not the only stealth mismatch that you can use, but it's a really, really good one. Other ways that you can use the stealth mismatch is, sounds like you can hold on to this thing for another year, and you're okay with that. And then shut up. Another example would be, sounds like you're okay if the tenant doesn't pay for the next 6 months. Geez, you're generous. Then shut up. Okay. Another one would be, sounds like you're not interested in me buying your house under any circumstances. And that's okay. I just want to know where we stand. Right? Say that and shut up. I'll say, sounds like listing with an agent might be your best option. What do you think? And zip it. You always want to be conditioning. Okay, you always want to be reluctant, right, to do business. You always want to be using those stealth mismatches. So let me talk a little bit about the psychology here of why we don't do this, right? And I think, one of the things that I think if you're a new wholesaler, or maybe you've been kind of just, doing deals on the seat of your pants is fear, right? Fear that if you pull away from the seller, that all of a sudden they're going to say, you're right, I don't want to do business with you under any circumstances. Or you're right, I am thinking about it listing with an agent and they're coming over at 2 p.m. Yeah, you are right. I am going to fix up this property and sell it for top dollar. Yeah, you're right. I am talking to 4 investors right after you, and I'm going to go with the highest bid. And I don't really care, what kind of rapport we build. You're going to be, if you're not the highest, you're not getting the deal, right? A lot of new investors are scared of hearing that answer. They want to live in the puffery, right? They want to live in the fact that they might be able to hold on to hope that there's a deal here. But that does not serve you. Right. One of the things that I pride myself about this podcast is I just love the cold, hard truth. And you want to get that from your sellers, right? You want to be a truth seeker and you want to be a truth teller. And if you use these stealth mismatches, you're going to get to the answer very, very quickly so that you can either spend more time with this person or not. Very important. Okay. And so using those stealth mismatches. So let me go to the second part of this conversation. And that's when the seller may have changed their mind. So it sounds like you had a seller who said yes, and all of a sudden it seems like they've gone totally cold. Hey, that happens, right? I could relate. Our acquisition specialists go through that all the time where they're hot, 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 and then they go cold. One of the things that I'll tell you is, remember, sellers lie. And so for whatever reason, they called you in a moment of pain or worry where they wanted to sell, and all of a sudden something happened where maybe now that pain has temporarily, the keyword is temporarily, gone away. So if you call them back and they say, I'm not interested in selling anymore, sellers go cold all the time. So I'll go back to that first conversation. I'll say, Mr. Seller, sounds great. I know it sounds like you're not interested in selling. The good thing is it sounds like maybe that your sister moved out, right? And that it's vacant and that, you're all set. And I might use another stealth mismatch to see if they've handled that problem. Regardless of what that seller says, until they sell it, I'm following up monthly. I'm not going to push. If they say they don't want to sell anymore, I'm not going to chase that seller anymore. I'm going to back away and I'm going to follow up every single month, okay? Relentlessly. I don't care what comes out of their mouth. Follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. Follow up. Now, obviously, I don't want you following up with unmotivated sellers all day long. Eventually, you're going to build a team to help you do that. And by the way, if you are interested in building a team and not being a one-man show, which I highly recommend, check out nextlevelwholesaling.com. But my recommendation here is back away and live to fight another day. Follow up. So let's review. Remember the download the script. Okay, you can also listen to the episode on actually how to use the script. Right. Remember that this is just a stealth mismatch, and stealth mismatch is a core part of the no limit selling system. You should be learning this thing inside and out if you are interested in purchasing that and doing big, fat, juicy deals, compressing your timelines, getting paid faster. Go to nolimitsalessystem.com, nolimitsalessystem.com. Okay. You can also use other stealth mismatches, like sounds like you can hold on to this thing for another year. Sounds like you're okay if the tenant doesn't pay for next six months. Sounds like you're not interested in me buying your house under any circumstances. Sounds like you're listing with an agent might be your best option, right? Or you could try any other kind of stealth mismatch depending on their particular situation. But remember, you are running away from the dog, right? So that they chase you. If you run the other way and that dog doesn't chase you, okay, guess what? You probably don't have a motivated seller, but you want to find that answer. Do not be scared of the truth. Ask these tough questions so that you know who to spend time with. I could tell you nothing is more exhausting than thinking and praying and hoping that you might have a motivated seller. Playing on the surface of just vague questions and not going deep, and then all of a sudden finding out 6 months later that they just listed with an agent. I mean, that is a brutal, soul-sucking, soul-crushing type of deal, right? So find out immediately who the contenders are, right? People who are hungry, and the pretenders, people who are going to waste your time. If you're interested to know more about the No Limit Selling System, check out NoLimitSalesSystem.com. If you are interested in starting to build that team, right, check out NextLevelWholesaling.com, and you're going to start to free yourself from your business and increase your bank account. And I will talk to you on the next episode.